imagine that you are sitting out, it's outside. There are lines of chairs all in nice rows. It's a beautiful, sunny, crisp day, maybe a little breeze in the air, and you're sitting there. You're looking forward. In front of you is a stage. There are lots of people up on the stage. You're sitting there and you're just listening, watching people cross the stage. You're listening for the names to be called out. You're waiting for this one particular name to be called out, and that is your youngest child. Hey everybody, it's Kelly Anderson, your Feeling Good Mama. So if you're a woman in your 40s or 50s, and you're all of a sudden you're sitting here at graduation, your youngest child is graduating, and it's just a huge flood of emotions. So you're so emotional about your kid, all the accomplishments your child has been able to get through, and then your child made good enough grades to graduate, and you're sitting there, you're thinking back through all of the struggles, all of the great times, all of the practices you went to, struggling with homework, all those years that you were so invested in your child. And now all of a sudden, as you're sitting in this chair, you're coming to the realization that that period of your life, that period of being a mother, of trying to create a happy home for your family, that period is kind of coming to a close. And while you're sitting there, you're so grateful for all the memories and experiences, and you're so proud of your child. There is also this feeling of doom inside of you, because you feel like, oh my gosh, what next? There's a part of you that feels like you're losing your identity. There's a part of you that might feel like, I'm not going to be needed anymore. There's a part of you that's feeling a little older. There may even be a part of you, if you haven't been working at all, you might want to go back to work, or you may not want to go back to work. Or it could be that you've been working a job and you're ready to do something different. You're ready to go in a different direction, or maybe you're ready, what you've been doing, you're ready to just really pour your heart into it. Whatever it is, there are a lot of emotions going on, and it can really be a time for a lot of confusion and a little bit of mourning. You're kind of mourning your past life. But I'm here to tell you that as a woman in my, it's kind of like shocking to say I'm in my 50s. I have to my first reaction is to say in my 40s, but I'm in my 50s, and I do have a child who is still she's just 13, but I can already see that she's starting to not need me quite so much. She's becoming more independent, and I'm already getting a little bit of a taste of what this is going to feel like on the day that she graduates high school and it's time for her to move on. I don't completely want to think about that right now, but because I serve women in their 40s and 50s, I know in this group, this is something a lot of women go through. So I'm here to tell you that if you are in your 40s and 50s, it is by nature a time of transition. Not only is it for us women with kids, it's a time of transitioning sort of out of motherhood, but it can also be a time of huge growth and kind of a period of awakening where all of a sudden we're kind of like the way that we thought about things our whole life, they may not work so much anymore, or we might even be like, oh my gosh, why didn't I see things that way before? I see them completely differently now. So I want to talk about a few things to give you guys some encouragement. If you are at this time in your life, and even if you don't have kids, even if you aren't going through that whole thing of your kids growing up and starting to move off, even if you don't have that, but you're in your 40s and your 50s, you still are feeling this kind of, it's just a change. There's no denying it. Our bodies start to change. We are definitely getting older. I'm not ever going to say that we're old, but we definitely start to feel differently in our bodies. We may not be quite as energetic as we once were. We might start to notice in our minds that we're a little more forgetful every now and then. Might take us just a little bit longer to process things sometime, but whatever is going on, there's no denying 40s and 50s are just a time of change. So first off, if you are going through this time, I don't want you to get down about it. I don't want you to live in regret. I don't want you to live in sadness that your younger days are over. There's just really no time for that. This whole life is an adventure. It's all an experience. So you just have to look at things like this is just another experience. I'm so grateful that I was able to live that time in my life, but this is a new experience. And there is no reason that this time in your life can't be just as thrilling and as exciting as the earlier times. I want to give you some things to think about. Okay, women out there in your 40s and 50s, you to be extremely proud of how far you've come. If you've made it to your 40s and 50s, there's no question you've lived some life. You've been through some things. You've seen some things. You've experienced some things. There's been a lot of growth with that. But I want you to be able to look back over your life and say, wow, look how far I've come. Look at all that I've been able to do. Look at what I've accomplished in my life. And even if it's not exactly how you would want it, I know there are things that you can look back on and be proud of. And I want you to think about that and kind of focus on that. When you look back over your life, be like, wow, like how cool is this that I got this far? And to go along with that, you've also proven that you are resilient. You are resilient and you can make it through hard things. And guess what? That is kind of a trait that has served you up to this point, but you're gonna need it moving forward also. It's gonna serve you as you move into the next era of your life. Needing to be resilient never really goes away. And so I want you to be proud of yourself for being resilient in the past. Know that is a skill that we're not going to get rid of. We're going to keep being resilient. Our 40s and 50s are a time of huge growth. If you take the time to use these years in that way. And what I'm talking about is, for me, it's been a time to get really still. It's been a time to get still and kind of process where I've come from, where I am now, and where do I want to go moving forward? What do I want my life to look like moving forward? And it's a great time to kind of pause and say, this is what worked in the past. And probably there's a lot of things that no longer work. What do I need to adjust or change moving forward for things to be better? It's really a time for improvement, just kind of looking at yourself to see what is good, what's not so good, and what can be better. So use that time, and I suggest getting quiet through meditation, through visualizations, through journaling, maybe join groups that are kind of in areas of interest so that you can be around other people kind of experiencing the same things. Sometimes that can be very helpful. This is your journey, so I want you to find whatever works best for you. So it's definitely, along with that is, like I just said, finding what worked and what did not work. What can we improve? 40s and 50s are a time of improving. Let's get better. Let's definitely keep striving every day to be a better version of ourselves. And sometimes that can be difficult, especially when we're going through menopause and we have all of these hormonal changes, all of these mood ups and downs. Sometimes that can be really difficult to say, okay, every day I'm going to work on being a better version of myself. But it is possible, and I'm here to encourage you to really give it your best. There's so many things out there for supporting menopause and hormone fluctuations, things like that. And I advise you to go out and research those, find what works best for you. I don't think that it has to be an excuse for not getting better. I've known some women in this time of life, and I think actually it might have been like older generations where women in this age, they just immediately just said, well, I'm old now, and they just kind of gave into it. The changes in their bodies were kind of uncomfortable, so they just they gave into it, and they didn't see it as, this is just a transition time, and I'm still going to make the best of it. So that's what I want to try to convey to you guys who are going through the change. It's just know it's a change, but also it is possible to still, enjoy life, to still feel good. It's totally possible during this time. Sometimes a painting will come to me and the inspiration is so strong and so powerful that I have to stop everything I'm doing and go to that. And if I don't, it will nag me for days and days. This painting here was inspired by our cat, Smokey. One day, a great friend of mine contacted me and said that kittens had been found under her house and she was not in town. That is when Smokey fell into our laps, and ever since we have been so in love with this cat. He is such a character. He's so goofy and silly. That's the story behind the cat, and let me know. I'd love to know what you think. It's also, our 40s and 50s are a great time to explore what you are good at, explore what you love, go back to those talents that you had as a kid, things that you would do that just were so much fun, you enjoyed them so much, but then somehow life kind of, swept you away from those things. Now is the time to start looking back at those kinds of things that were really kind of innate, you were born with them, talents and gifts that God gave you that you always kind of wish, wow, I wish that I could get back to that. If you ever had a yearning in your life, mine is drawing and painting. I kind of go in and out. Life will pull me away sometimes, but it's kind of always this nagging thing of it. You got to get back. You've got to paint. You've got to draw. And so anything that you've had like that in your life, this is the time in your 40s and 50s to start trying to get back to those things. Moving forward beyond 40s and 50s is all about feeling good. And I want you guys to be thriving. I want you to be doing what you love, what fills you up. Now is the time to start kind of setting the groundwork for that. So really dive deep into those things. Start reading again, and reading in these areas that of interest to you, watching YouTube, these things that you like, whatever inspires you. It's all about inspiration here. This is a really big one because this is what I coach women on. It's huge, but 40s and 50s can be that time in our lives when we start to really focus on our purpose. I kind of feel like, at least for me, my years from childhood up to 40 were really kind of in preparation for what I'm doing now and what my real purpose in life is. So start thinking about, what am I here for? You were here to raise kids. That was certainly a huge, very important role and goal. And now that's starting, you're moving out of that. Your kids are grown, or they're almost grown, and that role is starting to be fulfilled. So now it's time to move to the next phase, which is, what am I outside of having kids? What is my purpose here on earth? And it kind of, in my opinion, it goes a lot back to what we talked about just before this, finding your talents and gifts and those things that you really enjoy. I want you to really think about trying to find a way to connect those to your purpose. I believe those talents and gifts are little clues to what you're really supposed to be doing. I want you guys to come through your 40s and 50s with a real solid plan for, this is what I'm doing with the rest of my life. These are the people that I'm serving. I'm here to make an impact, and this is how I'm going to do it. So now is that time to be processing and thinking about that. In summary, our 40s and 50s they can be, for some, they can just be like a really tumultuous. You guys tell me in the comments how to pronounce that word. Tumultuous. It can be that if you aren't purposeful about it being the opposite of that. It can be a time where you're mourning that your kids have grown and you're missing having that purpose. Or it can be a time where you're kind of like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? I hear that from so many ladies when their kids are grown. They're like, what do I do now? But I want you to think of this time as more of an adventure and a time of discovery and a time of kind of reinventing yourself. We're going to go into the next phase, 40s and 50s and beyond. We're going to go through it feeling good. We're going to go through it being very inspired. We're going to go through it getting out, being energetic, making a difference, serving on a very high level. That's what the next phase is going to be about. And I want you to get so excited about that. Now, in this transition time, it's the time to start getting really excited. And that's what I want you to do. As you're sitting there in the audience, you're watching all of the kids, and you finally hear your kid's name is called. I want you to just take a deep breath in. Just take a deep breath in. I know, I can only imagine. Like, I cried when my kid started pre-K, and I cried so hard when my child graduated 5th grade. Oh my gosh, that was like, because we were moving on to middle school, and that was like so incredibly emotional to me. I cannot imagine. I will be a basket case for high school graduation, and you certainly have permission when you're going. I'm not saying don't feel these emotions, but I don't want you to get down about it. I want you to get excited about the transition and excited about what's to come. So you're sitting there at graduation, your child's name is called, and I want you to just be so proud, and I want you to be proud of your kid and his or her accomplishments, but I also want you to be really proud of you and all that you have done. I want you to start working on taking all the knowledge that you have gathered up to this point and start putting together a plan for how you are going to go out and you are going to rock things. You are going to help people on such a huge level. It's time to get really excited about that. And so I hope this helps. I hope this leaves you with some encouragement and some enthusiasm. We're all about getting excited. We're all about feeling good. So my name is Kelly Anderson. I am the Feeling Good Mama. I'm here to support women 40 plus in finding confidence and creativity toward their purpose. We're always moving toward what you're here for to do. And then I also help other artists and creatives in the same way, help to give you the courage and confidence to go out there and be as creative as you can be. I hope this helps you guys. Please check out in the description all the great things that we have at Feeling Good Mama to support you guys. We love to help you, and if you ever need anything, please feel free to reach out to the feelinggoodmama@gmail.com. Please, you can always leave a comment here. We always check those. Thank you so much, and we will see you on the flip side.